Right.
Travis is like, I'll be there, don't. Welcome in to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm your host, Chris Bates, and boy, we are doing something so special today. I have not been on a live event in a long time, and we have decided to try that out, and what a great place. We are at Ramuntos here in Bennington, and you know, I want to start this off with our first guest, Jonah Spivak. Jonah is, how do I explain this?
I'm interested to hear how this is going to go.
Right? You are a man of many talents, I will say that. And one of the talents, I think, you are into the trail system here in not only, I think, Bennington, but in Bennington County and the state of Vermont.
Yeah, sure.
So Jonah is going to talk all about Bennington and Bennington's designated trail system. Is that how?
Sure, let's start there. That sounds good.
Right.
Yeah. So the first thing I did after I graduated college, and by the way, I went to UVM, so if you're a UVM alma mater out there, hello.
I love it.
The first thing I did was hike the Long Trail, end to end. Just started down in Pownell and took it all the way up through to the Canadian border.
Wow.
Wow. I mean.
No, really, wow, though. It's a ways.
It's about 280 miles.
Walking.
But keep in mind, compared to the Appalachian Trail, which is around 1,200 or 1,400 miles, there's a difference in scale there. But I would note that the Long Trail was the first long-distance hiking trail, and it was, in fact, the inspiration for the Appalachian Trail and all these other trails that came after. And that inspiration, I believe, happened right on Stratton Mountain, right here in the Bennington County area. So we have a really powerful connection between our communities, the Green Mountains, and these hiking trails. You had suggested maybe I could bring like a map or something. So I did bring a map. This is the Bennington Trail map.
Where do people get something like this?
Yeah, so this is available on the Town of Bennington's website. You can also get it at the Vermont Welcome Center right on 279. But if you go to the town's website, that's benningtonvt.org, you can just search for Bennington Trail Map. But not just that, consider searching for outdoor activities, because you'll find that in addition to this trail map, we have got a lot of resources on there about all the other outdoor activities we have, which is something that I think the first reason we met was because you're such a supporter of the outdoors.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, too, a lot of people come to the area because Vermont is outdoors.
Yeah.
It's all about outdoors. And when I see people from other states, from the Midwest, from, Maine and New York State and Illinois, Wisconsin, they come from all over. They always are like, where do we go?
Yeah.
So great to give that information out.
And I would also say that this trail map is actually pretty diverse. There's all kinds of different trails. We mentioned the Appalachian Trail and the Long Trail, and by the way, the Appalachian and the Long Trails are the same trail through Bennington County. They literally follow the same path. And in fact, here's a little oddity for you. If you are hiking the entirety of the Appalachian Trail, you started on a White Blaze Trail down in Georgia, and you followed it all the way up to Vermont. And halfway through Vermont, however, the Appalachian Trail branches off towards New Hampshire.
Wow.
And at that point, for about 30 miles, the Appalachian Trail is a blue blaze trail instead of that white blaze. It's very traumatic for some of these thru hikers that following that white blaze for months and months, and then suddenly you're on a blue blaze trail.
It's like, how do I get back? Right?
So, and that's absolutely because of that history where the Long Trail was the first. It was the first trail, so that's why it has the white blaze going all the way up to the Canadian border. So, whether you're hardcore or not, there's a lot that we have to offer. And some of the other examples of the types of trails, we have a wonderful walking trail system in North Bennington called the Mile Around Woods. Very accessible, very beautiful, well-maintained, and really a great place to go if you just have like anywhere from a half hour to maybe an hour that you want to do some walking. But we also have this incredible hiking and biking system on Mount Anthony, the Bennington Area Trail System, or BATS for short, which really has some amazing trails, and recently the new Zaphod Trail Overlook. That's another overlook of the Bennington area. And I say another because there's two other famous ones, right? There's the Harmon Hill Overlook, and there's the White Rocks or the Bald Mountain Overlook.
Which we know very well.
Which is, the trailhead is literally in your backyard.
Right.
So we now have these three amazing overlooks, and a fun thing to do if you're a hiker and coming to Bennington, why not do all three overlooks, right? That would be a pretty cool thing to do.
The White Rocks Overlook where we're at, I talk with hikers when they come down, and they're like, I've never been here. It took me 4 hours to get up, but boy, once you got to the top and you're overlooking Bennington and Bennington County looking out that way, it's like, wow, what a sight.
It's powerful.
It's very powerful.
And something of a rite of passage for many people in the Bennington area to do that hike.
Right.
So in addition to those hiking areas, we have a new amazing feature, which is our rail trail. Now, the rail trail in Bennington is wonderful because it's really a multi-use path. So biking, walking, but it's paved and it's very accessible. And because it's on a railway, it's virtually level for the entirety of its route, and very accessible for people who have limited mobility or they're on a scooter and they still want to have that experience. And here's the best part. It connects a river walkway in downtown Bennington and then connects to another trail over in the Northside Drive area, originally called the Ninja Trail.
Right.
It's being renamed to the Loomsack Valley Pathway, partly in recognition that this is now a connector, right? So we have this rail trail leading to the formerly Ninja Path, now Loomsack Pathway, which will then take you all the way to Bennington College and into North Bennington.
So recently, the rail trail was completed. When was that completed? Last year?
Just last year, yeah.
Right.
Last spring it was officially
And
open.
how many miles is that? Because it went from the old Bennington train station. It starts there and goes all the way to where?
Well, it goes to Orchard Road and then a little beyond to Emma's Road, which is off of Northside Drive.
Okay.
And it's actually, in itself, it's not that big of a stretch. It's 1.2 miles, but it connects all these other trail assets. Exactly, and that's the key.
Right. So
Can I mention a couple other paths? I know we're
Yes,
getting
go ahead.
close to.
Yeah, we're getting close
I have
to
about a
break.
minute, so
Yeah.
all right. Before the break, I'll just mention that in addition to those, we have another brand new trail, a trolley line pathway that links the Greenberg's Preserve and the Greenberg's Headwaters Park, and now we're looking at another connector to bring that to Main Street. So literally,
That is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Coming from the headwaters. I mean, that is phenomenal.
it's really terrific, and that's another new thing that's happening. And I guess the only thing I'll quickly mention is that we've been talking about like walking and hiking and biking,
Yeah.
but there's also canoeing possibilities here. We have a canoe trail from the covered bridges, linking
Right.
all three covered bridges. But that's a story for
That's
another
a story
time.
for another time. But you know what we'll do too is when we come back at a break, you're going to hang tight.
Okay.
And, well, I'll finish that. All right, folks, we'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm your host, Chris Bates. Boy,
And you hardly seem out of practice at all. You
Right.
said it was a long time. He's doing good.
so we're here talking with Jonas Spivak, who knows everything about our trails system here, and it's great that he's here. So I want to talk, though, about Bennington, and I know there was a big push quite a few years ago to get our town designated. And I remember there was this book that you would go through, and there would be all these towns in there, and it would be like, well, gosh, we have the White Rocks, we have all these things that you mentioned earlier in the show, and how did we do that? How did we finally get into the book that this is a designated hiking town?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good point. So designated what?
Right.
Designated as an official Appalachian Trail community.
Right.
And I believe there's maybe 30 or 40 Appalachian Trail communities in its entirety throughout the entire East Coast. And I believe
Tell me that's not amazing.
it is amazing.
Right.
And we are one of only 3 in Vermont.
Right.
And it's so appropriate for us as being the inspiration for the entire Appalachian Trail to be an Appalachian Trail community.
Exactly.
So what does that mean? It's really, it consists of 2 sides. One is the stewardship side, and that's really about the town.
Right.
Informing the townspeople, letting the locals know about this amazing resource, and inspiring our youth, so they're the next generation of protectors for that trail in the future.
Right.
So that we really have an actual stake in these trails that are all around us. But secondarily, it's also about the hikers. It's about those people that are on the long trail and the Appalachian Trail. What can we do as a community to welcome and service those hikers?
Right. So maybe you can take us through. I'm a hiker. I'm coming into town, and I look in my book, and Bennington's in there, and I go, oh, there's food. There's a post office. And post offices are very important to hikers.
They are.
As from what I understand, they order food and they can pick it up. But what does I come into town and I need to take a shower, or I need to get a ride, or I need something. What goes on in a town like this?
Yeah, well, so you mentioned a book, but actually most hikers today are using an app and a Facebook group.
I'm so old school, damn it.
I know, right? Every hiking cohort of through hikers, there's a Facebook page for that year, and they share lots of timely information because more or less they're moving in a big block through this. And if you're a through hiker, that is. You're mostly within 6 or 8 weeks of all the other people that are trying doing the same thing, whether you're northbound or southbound. But for a community to be welcoming, having some resources is really valuable, and we have a lot for here. A number of businesses are really geared towards servicing hikers. We have the Catamount Motel, which also provides a shuttle service. And in fact, our local Green Mountain Community Network, our bus service, runs a free bus right by the trailhead twice a day that you can grab. And also, honestly, even though hitchhiking is not what it used to be, like when I was a kid, hitchhiking was a normal thing. Today, it's kind of weird. But if you see a hiker with the big backpack going down the road with their thumb out, with walking poles, people kind of get it that you're a hiker, and they're much more likely to pick you up and bring you into town.
Great.
And I would say one of the other big features about Bennington is we have some really good breweries. And I got to say, if you've been hiking for a while, nothing like a Vermont craft brewed beer to end your day.
What do you think, I'm just going to throw this out at you because you may or may not know, what do you think it would cost for a hiker to come, for maybe not the whole way, not from Georgia to Maine, but, somewhere in between? What do you think it costs?
I'm not the right person to ask for that. I personally...
What did it cost you?
Well, I just did the long trail.
Right.
So
what did
it's
it
just
cost
a tiny
you to do
fraction.
200 miles?
It was extremely inexpensive at the time because I was just buying food, and I wasn't even mailing it to myself. I would just occasionally hike into town to get food.
Okay.
So I don't think that's really a good comparison, but I would suggest that it's an excellent question, and I know it's been answered. Go on Facebook, listen to some what the people are talking about. I'm sure that's a common topic, not one that I'm really...
Because sometimes I talk with hikers, and they'll say, well, I started in Maine, and I'm to Vermont, and I have $30,000. And I'm
oh, my God.
$30,000?
Wow.
But then when they start telling me, well, I have to have... At some point, I'm going to end up buying new boots. At some point, I'm going to buy something new. I need hotels every once in a while to lay in a bed, and so on. What about medical and everything? So I was like, well, okay. How many miles is that? 2,000? What is it, 1,800 miles?
I think it's 1,200 or 1,400, and I am embarrassed that I don't have that literally on the top of my head right now. I should have. Before getting here, I should have checked that.
To do that, I was like, wow. Yeah. Mail your food to you, and I guess all of it probably adds up. But
I'm sure it does, but I think what I could say is that the nice thing about Bennington is we have a wide range of pricing levels. So if you're on a budget, you can get that really cheap. I mentioned the Catamount Motel. In addition to regular rooms, they have like a bunkhouse sort of thing. You could stay at the bunkhouse. There's also camping opportunities. But hey, while you're at all of this, we're talking about us as being an Appalachian Trail town. One of the things we do every year is we have a festival specifically geared towards hiker.
The Trail Fest.
The Trail Fest.
It was great.
And we always time it for the last Saturday in July because that is roughly when that big bubble of hikers we were talking about earlier is coming through our area. So come in during that weekend. We will put you up for free. We will feed you. We will give you lots of amenities and lots of service and love. So that will be July 26th of 2025.
So I remember, I think the first one we did, I did a whole TV show on that. And then I came again this year to see what it was, and there was quite a few people. And I think it's wonderful that Bennington does do that kind of stuff for the hiking community. And I think hikers is a lost, I want to say it's almost a lost art. Because when you look at things, deer hunting, fishing, canoeing and camping and stuff, those are your big ones, right? People want to go do that stuff. How many people, though, say, yes, I am going to go hiking for those, those 5 days or whatever.
Well, gosh, if you are a thru hiker, though, it's a lot more than 5 days. You're committing to roughly 6 months of your life.
Right.
So it is different, and I'm interested that you make this correlation with other outdoor activities.
Yeah.
The hiking community has evolved, and partly has been because of social media, people self-reporting on themselves on these adventures in ways that were not possible previously.
Right.
So that is quite different from
All
how
right,
it's happened in the past.
we got to get running.
Oh, gosh.
But gosh,
always
thank
a
you
pleasure.
so much,
Oh,
and
thank
I
you.
appreciate it. And we'll have you back on, because now you've opened up a whole big can of worms for me, and I want to know more about it. So we'll have
It's
you
always a
back on.
pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right. With that, folks, I think we're going to come back right after this. We're going to talk to Matt Willie from Ramuntos. He's got some information that you're going to want to hear. Welcome back to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm your host, Chris Bates, and we are here at Ramuntos, 519 Main Street in Bennington. And, I got to know the owner, Matt, here about, I'm going to say, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a
when you
long
were
time.
first taking over Ramuntos.
Yep. That was 12 years ago, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be sitting here talking to Matt on the TV show. Anyway, you are a man who does a lot of stuff for communities and for our community here in Bennington, which I think is wonderful. You've had different businesses here, and you have ventured into something I think I'm going to have to say new for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And you are into the Christmas tree business now. How in the world did that get started?
Yeah, it's crazy. Really, it was right after COVID. I decided that I wanted to find as much land as I can for my kids, be outside, get off the screen type thing. And so if something ever like that happens again, I have my own land, my own space, and I can do whatever the heck I want.
Right.
So it just happened that it was kind of local, really close to my in-laws, which my in-laws are just about my neighbors. And Rick Madison was looking to move on from his. Yep.
So, how much did you know about trees?
Nothing. I knew zero about trees.
So how in the world do you go, okay, surprise, guess what we're doing?
Yeah. It just happened to be. I mean, we were looking for any type of farm, to be honest with you, because I wanted to add animals. That was my big thing too. Is we'll talk about that, I guess, at some point. But and trees just happened to, the business just happened to be with the land.
Okay.
So I said, and Rick Madison, who was a great guy, really helped me, guided me, stayed on with me for a little bit, and did a lot with me.
Okay, so talk us through a tree. What you know about, the holiday tree or the evergreen tree. What kind of trees are they?
Yep. So we mainly have balsam firs. We have balsams and we have a couple of Frasers, but mainly it's balsam firs.
Okay, not Joe Fraser trees.
No.
Just
balsam,
Frasers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, balsams and we have some Douglases, but for the most part, it's whatever what the soil's gonna.
Okay, I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, and balsam's always done the best there.
Okay.
Yep.
So then you had to learn. Do you take out these big swords and you swat at them?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we should
Come on,
shear
really?
them. Yep, I do that. If there's probably one thing that I sub out, it's a little bit of that work. Because it's a lot. I mean, you're doing that in mid-July. I mean, it's 100 degrees and you have swords and you're swinging.
Look at the size of
Yeah, it's a lot.
We have 5,000 trees. Get out there.
Yeah, and we have 20,000 trees, so
it's
a lot of them. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You won't be running out of trees, that's for sure.
Hopefully not. No, that's not. Yes, that's the plan. Hopefully not to run out.
Okay, so now how do people go out there? How do they pick the tree? What is the process?
Sure. Yeah, so you can show up. We usually open Black Friday, right after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And there'll be a line right down Round and Gun Club Road. And you show up and, if you need a saw, we let you have a saw. We let you go out and pick a tree, cut it down, and we'll wrap it up, throw it in your car for you.
Wow. And the prices, they range from?
Yeah, sure. Up to 7 feet is $65.
Okay.
And then after that, you just add $10 a foot.
Okay.
Yep.
Now,
pretty simple.
I always wanted to know, when people cut down the trees, do you go out there and dig up the stumps?
Yeah, it's a pain. That's the one thing that I've been trying to. A lot of people do different things. Some people do what you said, but then there's a big hole in the earth. So we'll just go back and cut with a chainsaw, flush as much as we can.
Okay.
And then we just plant right next to it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And where do you get your starter stock from?
From a place, we either get them in Pennsylvania or there's a place all the way up in.
And they're just little
Northeast
trees
Kingdom.
Do you go out there with a golf hole thing, or what do you?
No, we have. So they're technically 4-year-old trees. So
okay.
So they're 2 years. They're still only as big. They're the transplants. They're called. 2 years they're in a pot. 2 years they're in the earth, and then they come and rip them up.
Oh, I see.
We have a big machine that goes on the back of our tractor. It's a big V that cuts the earth, and I'll be sitting on the ground, kind of, and I just plant them as we go.
And how long does it take for one of the trees to get to the size you need?
About 10 years.
Wow.
Yep. 10 years.
Wow, 10 years for 30 days.
Yeah.
You have the tree for 30 days.
Yep.
Now, real quickly, too, the water thing, right? You cut them off. Do they really drink water through the
absolutely. Yeah. If you
stalk?
Absolutely. If you wanted to keep your tree really, really for a long time, after Christmas or whatever, you would take it back out, cut it a little bit, put it back in, and it would really absorb through the trunk.
I see. So that is very important.
Absolutely.
For trees, right?
Yep.
Okay, so then the other thing too is that you got into turkeys and some stuff, and tell us just a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I wanted to, again, kind of going back to COVID. We wanted to know where our food came from. So I started a little program. I have a specialized pigs. They're called coonies, and I have Dexter cattle, which is a special cattle. And everything is born on my farm, and everything will be produced right from the farm.
Time goes by so darn fast.
Yeah.
How do people find your tree farm?
Sure. So it's on Madison. It's on Rod and Gun Club Road. It's Madison Farm. I also have a pretty strong YouTube channel on Madison Farm that's growing like crazy right now. So you can find me on YouTube too on Madison Farm. My whole family's involved, and you can see it all.
Do you have a phone number you want to give out?
Yep. It's 802-379-8158, and that's the direct line to me.
Gosh, we need more time.
Sure. Yeah.
We're going to have to go and talk more. I'm going to have you on just to talk about trees.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we keep going.
Darn.
Sure.
This is crazy. It's just, anyway, thank you so much.
problem, man. Thank you for having
coming.
me. I appreciate it.
And thanks for hosting us
Yeah,
here today.
absolutely. And if you guys want lunch, let us know. We'll take care of you guys. Just let us know. All right.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, folks, hang tight. No, you know what? We're going to stay right here. I just want to thank everybody for this show. And to put something together like this takes a process. It takes a while. It's not something that can be done overnight. I want to thank Jonas Spivak for talking about the trails. I want to thank Cat TV, Mike Cutler, our tech advisor, our camera op, William Gardner, our sound guy today, Lisa Byers, who runs Cat TV over there, Stephanie Calabro for keeping time for us over in White Rock's design studio at Turcotte Design. And, it's always fun, and we love to do all this stuff and bring everything back to our community. So with that, we need to get running, and we will talk to you all next month, third Friday, and who knows where we're going to be. All right, folks, talk to you all next month.